Hail, Ave, and welcome to this film review channel, mixing the basil leaves of insight and the sun-dried tomatoes of observation into a tapenade of cultural discourse. And once again, I remind you to subscribe and leave a comment. The Italian director Marco Bellocchio, at the age of 83 and almost 60 years after he first came to prominence with his movie Fists in the Pocket, has created a gripping, heartbreaking, true political crime story from the pages of history, with Kidnapped, a full-tilt melodrama with the passionate vehemence of Victor Hugo or Charles Dickens, which lays bare an ugly, formative episode of Europe's Catholic Church, an affair of blood libel, anti-Semitism and child abuse.
La storia è andata su tutti i giornali, ha fatto il giro del mondo, è arrivata fino in America.
Suo figlio non è più ebreo, signora, è cristiano.
Mio figlio è ebreo!
It is based on the true story of Edgardo Mortara, a young Jewish child in Bologna, who in 1868, at the age of 6, was taken away from his Jewish family by the papal authorities because Edgardo's doting Catholic nurse claimed that when Edgardo was a baby and, she thought, in dire sickness, she presumed to carry out an emergency Christian baptism of the sort all Catholics are permitted because she feared Edgardo would go to limbo. The fanatical Inquisition authorities affected to believe that the family would therefore sacrifice the child and in any case jumped at the chance to punish the Jewish community and inflate their own missionary self-importance. Edgardo, extensively brainwashed, grew up to be a priest and a vehement partisan of the church. Enea Sala and Leonardo Maltese play Edgardo as a child and then as an adult. Fausto Russi Alessi and Barbara Ronchi play the boy's desperate parents. Fabrizio Gifuni is the ice-cold Bologna inquisitor, Father Felletti, and Paolo Pierbon is Pope Pius XI, who makes Edgardo his pet and turns the case into a trial of strength between the church and the anti-papal nationalists, foreign journalists, and of course the Jews. Bellocchio shows us a brutal convulsion of tyranny, power and bigotry with echoes of the Dreyfus affair in France and later horrific events. When the chilling Felletti finally tells a judge that in taking the Jewish child he was merely executing a command from the Vatican, that is a familiar courtroom defence. The taking of young Edgardo is a roundup in miniature, and the Pope's heartlessness is a forerunner of Pius XII's apparent wartime indifference to Nazi atrocities. And Bellocchio recently told me that you cannot unsee the parallel with Hamas, Israel and Gaza. The moment when the Pope playfully hides Edgardo in his cloak while watching him and his friends play hide-and-seek is an extraordinary parallel to an earlier scene when he first hid in his mother's skirts. My heart was in my mouth when Edgardo is first carried off by the brutal authorities, and then at the end, when the older, agonised Edgardo comes to see his mother on her deathbed, Bellocchio creates a denouement that made me gasp. This already looks like a classic. That's it. Can I now please ask you to watch this extremely important public information film about a literary event in Cambridge next week? Yes, next Thursday, the 25th of April at 6 p.m, I shall be reading from my new collection of short fiction, The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories, and talking about my writing life generally at Heffers Bookshop in Trinity Street, Cambridge. So if you're in Cambridge or the surrounding area, please come along. It would be great to see you. Click on the link given.